What's up, XFL Nation? Mark Perry back here with a jam-packed mega episode, getting you all the latest information from the XFL. The Vipers are leaving Vegas. NFL Cutdown Day, what XFL players made it, who did not. Season tickets. We've got exclusive combine insights, interviews, Dany Garcia talks. We've got the Jacksonville Sharks in the IFL, TDECU Stadium, season tickets, so much. We've got so much content to get into. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. And hey, without further ado, let's talk about the last month in the XFL. Hey everyone, welcome back to XFL News Hub. Big news is breaking from one of the XFL teams that's been struggling. The Vegas Vipers could be packing up and moving to a brand new city for the 2024 season. Let's dive into what this means for the team and the league. Again, this news has been broken by our main man, Mike Mitchell, and is starting to be confirmed by others. Let's get into it. First off, let's recap why this is happening. The Vegas Vipers had a tough run in 2023, finishing with a 2-8 record and landing last in the North Division. It's been a season to forget, and that's putting it mildly. Most notably, let's forget about Cashman Field and how nasty that place was. That was kind of an embarrassment for the XFL. Also, the performance was poor enough to warrant a change at the top. Former coach Rod Woodson was shown the door, or they mutually agreed to leave, and now we've got Dr. Anthony Blivens is now your new head coach of the whatever Vipers. He's expected to provide some much-needed direction for the struggling franchise. Now, sources have indicated that the Vipers are seriously contemplating a move. The contenders, Nashville, Tennessee, and Arizona State University, Tempe, Arizona. Each comes with its own unique opportunities and challenges, but one thing is clear. Vegas may soon be out of the Vipers equation. Why is this happening? Well, apart from the performance of the team, really business and media support in Vegas was really lacking. Both Nashville and Arizona offer potentially more fruitful environments for the Vipers to grow and succeed. Most notably, on a college campus at Arizona State could really build some momentum for the XFL. So there you have it, folks. Main man Mike Mitchell comes down with the big scoop. So big decisions are coming down the pipeline for the Vegas Vipers, decisions that could change the future of the team and impact the league as a whole. Who do you think? Do you think these are two good locations? We've talked about San Diego. We've talked about others. Let us know what you think in the comments, but this story should be getting more steam over the days and weeks ahead. Let us know in the comments who you think would be a good location for the XFL, and make sure you subscribe and like our channel. All right, XFL Nation, let's take a look at the players that made the cut. XFL players that made the cut for the 2023 NFL season. So first off, NFL Cutdown Day was this past week. Teams needed to go from 90 players to 53. 65 XFL players signed NFL contracts in 2023. Of those, 2 made the cut. That means 63 did not. That means 2 made the roster, the 53-man roster. Dan Whelan, the punter for the DC Defenders, made the roster. He will start. He will be the punter for the Green Bay Packers. And Austin Falawi, Seattle Seahawks, but defensive end, but he was on made the pup list, so he's not really on there, but he did kind of make the cut. All these other players did not make the cut. Charleston Rambo, Brandon Dillon, Nick, the list goes on. But this doesn't mean they're all out of the loop just yet. No. We'll get to that in a second. We'll get to that right now. So the players that did get signed to the NFL practice squads were 17 players, and actually 5 of them from 2020 also made the practice squad. So if you're looking at this, thanks to Matty Fresh and Mike Mitchell, they had their list out here, but we have it for you right now. So guys like Ben DiNucci, we'll go over their list. So Ben DiNucci of the Seattle Sea Dragons, John Trey Kirkland, he's with the Broncos. John Trey Kirkland is with the Saints. Matthew Sexton from the Vipers is on Atlanta. Michael Bandy from the Houston Roughnecks is with the Broncos as well with Ben DiNucci. Barry Wesley, Sea Dragons for the Atlanta Falcons. Jared Jones-Smith, offensive lineman for the Battlehawks. He's with the Washington Commanders. Jack Helfrich, defensive lineman, was with the Houston Roughnecks, is now with the Saints. LaCale London, Battlehawks, is with the Falcons. And Matt Goddell, defensive lineman with the Brahmas, is on the Seahawks. Defensive lineman C.J. Brewer is on the Houston Roughnecks, is on the Bucks. Jordan Thomas, a linebacker from the Guardians. The Guardians is with the Panthers. Parker Romo still sticks on, the kicker for the Brahmas. He was with the Bears practice squad. Lucky Jackson, America's team, DC Defenders wide receiver. He sticks on with the Vikings. Marcel Aitman of the Battlehawks, that we thought he would maybe have a huge year. He got injured a lot of the year, but he's still a player because clearly he's with the Buffalo Bills. Luke Barco, a cornerback from the Brahmas, is on the Steelers. And Nico Lalos, who had a great preseason with he's in the Sea Dragons. He's with the Saints. And then Brian Hill, running back for the Battlehawks, is on the San Francisco 49ers. There are other guys from the 2020 XFL season that made the cut. So you've got, remember Tyree Jackson, the quarterback for the DC Defenders? Well, now he plays tight end. He was with the Eagles, and now he signs with the Giants as a tight end. PJ Walker, he, former Panther, Houston Roughneck quarterback, he signs with the Bears practice squad. He was cut. Some other guys, DeMarcus Gates, who played with the XFL and USFL. He was with the Houston Roughnecks. He gets signed by the Bears. I have his little USFL card, by the way. Some other guys, Godwin Mbuke, he played with the Dragons, not the Sea Dragons, with the Dragons in 2020. He's with the Falcons. Michael Dunn, offensive lineman, he's with the Dragons in 2020. He signed with the Browns. And there you have pretty much your 2020. I'm trying to see if there's any other guys. I think that's it for your 2020 guys there. That's on the practice squad side of things. So guys like, all the quarterbacks, the only quarterback to sign is Ben DiNucci. That means Jordan Ta'amu and, others are back on their squads for next year. And that's the thing when it comes to these players, their rights still belong to their XFL team. So if they come back to play in the XFL, they will be on their team unless they get traded. Here's some other guys. Remember 2020 alumni that are still thriving in the NFL. These are guys that are on the regular rosters. Taylor Heineke, we know his whole journey with the Commanders. Now he's with the Falcons. Donald Parham is still with the Chargers. Elijah Campbell is with the Dolphins. And two long snappers, and Christian Kuntz with the Steelers and Scott Daly with the Lions. There are your guys that are actually on the 53-man roster. There's still XFL players on there. Of course, PJ Walker got cut. Guys like Kenny Robinson, remember him from the St. Louis Battlehawks? He got cut by the Steelers. Not sure if he got signed on. So there are still guys from the 2020 alumni that are still in the NFL. So, hey, this is still a fluid situation. This video, this content could be old soon. But you see, when the XFL was coming out and they were pumping up, all these guys are going to got NFL opportunities, 65 of them. But it's not like all of them are going to be starters. One made the 53-man roster. And the rest are practice squad players. But you make bank, even if you're just on the practice squad for a week. It's like 75, like 100 grand or something like that. They make a lot of money by just being on a practice squad. So these guys are completely happy. But hopefully now the XFL is like, hey, you're not a feeder. Hey, you put in some guys. The XFL was hyping that a lot in the beginning, and I'm glad they pulled from that because a lot of these guys aren't going to be on NFL rosters. But these guys, the question is, they've got a taste of the NFL. Are they going to come back to the XFL for season 2? Or are they going to be just happy with playing in the XFL for the next 5 years? This is going to be kind of an interesting thing. And now we've got a whole new flood of talent that actually now is available for the XFL to pick up as well. So it's going to be an interesting time. So stay tuned to XFL News Hub and make sure you like and subscribe because it's going to be interesting. Some of your players that you might not have, that you kind of knew on some of your teams in the NFL could be playing in the XFL in 2024.
When you're looking looking for football fans with undeniable loyalty, you have to play the game in St. Louis.
Hey, XFL fans, exciting news dropped from the league. If you missed out, the 2024 season tickets are on sale, and we've got all the details right here on XFL News Hub. So buckle up, because we're diving into all the ins and outs of grabbing your seats for the next thrilling XFL season. So starting now, season tickets for each team are up for grabs, whether you're cheering for the champion Arlington Renegades or my America's Team DC Defenders or any of the other exciting teams. You'll find a package that fits your budget with 5 home games in the package and prices starting as low as $100. You won't want to miss out. Now, if you're a fan of the Houston Roughnecks or the Vegas Vipers, you kind of need to hold tight. Season tickets for these teams will be available at a later date, but don't worry, you can still make your ticket deposits now. There's questions about where the Houston Roughnecks will play next year due to construction at their stadium, and the Vegas Vipers stadium situation. Well, you know the Vegas Vipers stadium situation. Now, when you become an XFL season ticket member, the perks don't stop at just the games. You get 20% off the XFL online shop. You get priority access to team events and even exclusive invites to away game watch parties. And the benefits are endless. And let's not forget the innovative virtual venue feature by Ticketmaster that lets you preview your seats with 3D stadium views. So I'm a season ticket holder. You got to be a season ticket holder too. So you ready to join the action? Head over to xfl.com/tickets to learn more and get your season tickets. Trust us from XFL News Hub. Lots of fun with these games, whether you're in Seattle or Arlington or Houston or San Antonio or in DC, the home of the Beer Snake. You'll want to be part of the exhilarating journey that the XFL has in store for the 2024 season. If you thought last year was good, next year will be even better. So don't forget to subscribe to XFL News Hub for more updates and exclusive contents. We will see you at the stadiums. Are you a fan of the XFL, USFL, and CFL football? Get ready to embrace your inner general manager with NewsHubFantasy.com's fantasy football experience. NewsHubFantasy.com offers you an unparalleled fantasy football platform, bringing together fans of the XFL, USFL, and CFL football leagues. Compete in season-long fantasy with leagues up to 6 players. You can create your own for friends, or you can join an existing league. Draft your ideal team with our 7 active roster spots, including a quarterback, running back, wide receiver, flex, tight end, kicker, plus 3 bench spots. Show off your football knowledge and strategy and dominate your league. Our user-friendly interface makes it easy to manage with your team and get the latest news in your XFL or USFL or CFL leagues on the go. Plus, News Hub Fantasy offers mock drafts, pick'em games, and so much more all season long. So don't miss out on the action. Sign up now at newshubfantasy.com and become the ultimate football fantasy manager. The end of July, the XFL wrapped up its XFL Combine. We have interviews from Dany Garcia, Terrell Buckley, Wade Phillips, Bob Stoops, and Hines Ward. So here is a recap of the 2-day event and what some of the coaches had to say.
When you're first coming up with what you want to do in the first year of the XFL, is the XFL Combine, all these showcases, that part of the plan, or was this something you guys figured out a little later on?
Well, it was actually part of the plan because we knew we wanted to cast a very wide net and making sure we were stacking the deck in our favor. So, the scouting process actually happened very quickly. We had our team members, our football ops people, a year and a half, 2 years before we were in market at any major event to start looking at our athletes. So it was part of the process. It allowed our coaches to see, what our initial scouting pool was going to be. It allowed us to assess them. Our fans got to see that we're serious and we're being active now. So yeah, it was a very important part of the process.
Can you evaluate the first year? Okay. Can you evaluate the first year of the league, what you've seen growth-wise and what you hope will happen in year 2?
Yeah, absolutely. So, number one, we're extremely pleased, right? But I will put a but. We're extremely pleased, and we're in year 1 of essentially a startup league. So there's a lot of challenges. I think we can look at our rules, we can look at our health and safety, we can look at our player success postseason, right? More than 100 of our athletes off to NFL camps. More than 31 have been signed. We can look at the play quality that was on the field and our ratings compared to our other competitors who are out there. I mean, we really did a wonderful job. We can look at our impact digitally, our fan experience. So there was so much, but in that joy, it's just the starting place. We know there's so much more to do. So we finished the season. We took a look at what worked, where we needed to improve. We made changes. We made changes structurally within the organization so that we could be very fine-tuned for execution going forward. So.
My question is, the XFL is physically demanding sport.
Yes.
So how, as a female, does your involvement with the XFL impact you mentally, emotionally, and physically? And are there any specific aspects of your role as the CEO that you found particularly fulfilling on a personal level?
What an interesting question. I will just correct, I'm not the CEO, I'm the chairwoman, and
okay.
Russ Brandon is our
Okay,
CEO and
okay.
president. But
Stand corrected.
No, just so you have context. So I'm a professional athlete, and I was an athlete in college. So, at the University of Miami, in fact, my partner, Dwayne Johnson, I met him in the weight room. So I have been training as an athlete all my life. I have been close to football. I'm a professional bodybuilder who retired once she purchased the XFL. I was one or the other. So that tenacity and that grit and drive of being an athlete, has shaped who I am. And it is 100% transferable to doing an XFL and startup league. The amount of work, the expansion of thought, what I need to sort of deliver myself personally to this league, and how I relate to my athletes. For them to know when I speak to them and they're on the field, for example, today, these athletes, I'm considering them mine, even though it's just the combine. While they're with us, they're mine. I know physically what their bodies are going through. So when I speak to them, they can sense that. So there's credibility, right? There's credibility, and that ownership sort of aspect matters. As far as learning lessons on this process, to be a female owner, to be the chairwoman in football.
Girls love football too.
But to be in this space in a very male-dominated environment has been an incredible experience and has made me have to sort of examine myself and stay focused on the execution. People will sometimes say, this is Dwayne Johnson's league, and they'll forget that it's Dany Garcia, and to look past that and just do the job for the athletes and the fans.
Well,
So
thank you.
I hope I answered that.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Ms. Garcia,
Yes.
XFL is professional football, but it really has a grassroots feel. Is that
Yes.
something that came to fruition naturally, or was that part of the marketing going in?
It was really intentional. All the companies I've been fortunate enough to build are always consumer facing. They're about the people they touch. And football is so many chapters, and the deep chapters are the ones about the players and the fans and the family and what it takes to actually do the game. I think that has gotten lost over the years, and it's gloss and flash and $100 million contracts, but the humanity of the aspect, we are a fan-forward, player-forward league. We want to invite everyone. We want to be accessible. We want to be at the right price points. And we want to be relatable. So, yes, I would say it's absolutely deliberate. And ownership helps to make it deliberate. Right. Sure.
There's a lot of different technology at this draft. The grip
Yeah.
strengths up, a lot of stuff.
I know.
Sean Hayes has been.
Did you see that all?
Yeah, it was something
The force
else.
plates? Yeah.
How important is it for the XFL to be at the forefront of this technological innovation?
Oh, it's first of all, great question. It is vital. It is one of our pillars that we are at the forefront. So, when you do have ownership that owns all 8 teams, and there'll be more teams in the future, you want to utilize that position to be as mobile and versatile as possible and innovative. We don't have to go through a process where every team has to approve. We know that we want to move quickly for our athletes, not only to develop them as players, but to keep them safe. So it's conversations we had when we first purchased the league. We are innovating and looking at partners every year to see what we can add. And we're developing metrics that are XFL-specific metrics to our athletes, which is these partnerships allow us to do. So when we're looking at this combine, we have a year's worth of data on my athletes, all my athletes who've gone to the NFL, and I have all their numbers, and specifically to the metrics we were looking at. So I can look at our potential athletes coming in and see some discrepancies, see who's, being extremely innovative, who's reaching numbers that we haven't seen before, and give them guidance to say, hey, this is where you're at. This is where these athletes were who made it to, additional levels. This is how we're going to work through it. So it's so vital. Thank you for asking.
Dany, you mentioned some structural changes with
Yeah.
the league. How have you guys kind of adjusted things from a business and operations standpoint?
So we went to, as we went through our first season, we realized we could go to a more seasonal model, right? So we staff up and we staff down because we didn't actually need that many individuals all year round. So we'll continue to respond in that way. We'll make sure that there is no discrepancy in the quality of deliverables to our athletes, the play, our fan experience. But it was a matter of actually being in the business and, putting it on its feet, and you start to see, oh, okay, we need to make these changes. We need to make these adjustments.
One more question?
Ms. Garcia, you mentioned
Yes.
that expansion was possible in the future. Is that something you're focusing on very keenly, and do you have a rough sort of timeline for that, maybe
Oh,
locations?
keen, very keen. It's all about expansion and growth. I don't have locations to share with now, but yes, it's absolutely part of our process that we continue to grow and expand in the markets.
Today, of course, the XFL players are going to the NFL, and you may not see them again. So as you get ready for another championship run, what goes into roster building this coming season?
Yeah, we're all for. We've had over 100 guys in our league that have, been signed on to NFL rosters or have had tryouts and whatnot. So we're all for that. This is what this league's about. It's the opportunity to play and showcase what you're able to do, and hopefully, it leads to an NFL career. So when you lose over 100 guys, you've got to replace them. So these, not just showcases, but this combine as well is an opportunity for all these players. All our teams are represented here with player personnel directors and head coaches, an opportunity to show the way they can run, jump, catch the football, throw the football, just show their skill set, to give them an opportunity to possibly jump on one of our rosters. So it's a great opportunity for them.
The XFL putting on these showcases in the combine, when was that idea put in front of the coaches? Was that something early on, or is this something that kind of part of the season the league had told you to do?
Yeah, no, it's something that was planned. After our season was complete, they scheduled them around the country to different showcases. And then the players that performed the best at those showcases were invited to this combine. So, it was all scheduled by our upper management and put together really well.
What are some things you're hearing in interviews and talking with players at this combine about their hopes in the XFL?
Well, they all hope to have an opportunity to play in the XFL. It's an opportunity to show what you're able to do. To perform in those 10 regular season games, that's a great platform to show every NFL team out there what you're able to make plays, able to block, get off blocks, make tackles, just to show your skill set.
How do you plan on using the grip data, the max velocity, all this new data coming in your evaluations?
Yeah, it's great data to see explosiveness, strength, quick twitch, all of those kind of things. It indicates, athletic ability and strength and power. So we all go through those, quite diligently to make sure we're finding the guys that quickest guys, strongest guys with the most power. Those kind of things matter.
Are any of those stats really sticking out to you early on? Obviously,
Well, I can't say to this point yet. We haven't had a chance to analyze it all, and in fact, it's not even available just yet. It will be later on today or this evening.
Obviously, this is a league-wide combine, but what does it mean to be the host stadium for the XFL combine?
Oh, it's great. This Arlington area has been great to us. The Renegade team and Choctaw Stadium and all the people that work in this facility have been incredible. It's a great place for us to practice and to play our games. And anyway, everybody handling this Choctaw Stadium does an incredible job. So they're doing the same here today.
Coach, you obviously were at Oklahoma for a while. You stepped away from that, and now you're
For a while.
Coach, obviously now in Arlington, Coach, kind of what led you to come out of retirement to come into Arlington? How have you enjoyed your time at XFL?
I've loved it. I've had an incredible experience, top down, from ownership to our upper management to assistant coaches I work with to the team I was able to be a part of this year was absolutely a joy. Never had a problem from day one. And I like it so much because it's just football. My job at OU, probably 20% of it was football. I know people don't think that because when you win at a high level, that's a big part of it. But the day-to-day work is a lot more than just football, and this is just football, and that's the fun part of it. You're working with older players that pick the game up quickly. They're talented. They're smart. There's no babysitting. They get it, and that's the fun part of it, and they love to play. So, when you leave, I don't have to get on a recruiting call. I don't have to go to an academic meeting. I don't have to go to a compliance meeting. It's all just football, and that's the fun part of it. And again, I've had an absolute blast coaching it here this past year.
Coach, we all know if you don't have a quarterback, you ain't got a shot. When you got Luis Perez, things changed. Describe what in your mind sums up a great quarterback, and what did that acquisition do for your team to?
Yeah, Luis, there's no doubt about it. Luis was the guy that changed everything for us. He galvanized the locker room. He was a true leader, a natural leader, an incredibly bright, smart guy, which helps you when you got that guy behind the quarterback. As quarterback, you can do so many. You have so many opportunities with plays and what to go to, and there's a great trust there with a guy like that. He's got a great mind to be at the line, and he can make changes at the line himself, when he sees something that's available to him. So quick reads, gets the ball out fast, got a great arm. So on and on. He has all the intangibles of athletic ability as well as the football IQ to really put you in good spots as an offensive team. And so, he was a major difference, obviously, in how we finished the year.
Coach, what's the schedule been like for you since the end of the season? Does the XFL keep you pretty busy, or you have some time to unplug?
Well, it's been a little of both. Immediately after the year, we had a little bit of a break, and now, all our assistant coaches are analyzing all these showcases. We're looking at trying to, actually the biggest part of it's been trying to continue to build and rebuild the roster. Guys you lose, guys may retire, guys are picked up in the NFL camps, so now replacing them all. So there's a lot of film to be watched of watching those players, whether they become available from other XFL teams or guys that have just recently been released from NFL rosters. So that's been the bulk of it right now, is everybody's paying attention to their roster and how to make sure when you show up for camp, that we have as good a team as possible to begin and start.
Coach, are you expecting the difficulty to step up that much more this year now that everyone's got a year together under their belts, coaches, players, and so on, building that consistency?
Yeah, what I anticipate is offensive production across the league, I think will start. It happened as the year progressed last year. Everyone got better and better and more in sync in the back half of the season. Now with the majority of your roster back, quarterbacks back, same offenses with the same coaches, I anticipate the offenses being up to speed right from game one to where it's going to be more exciting, more offensive production, more challenging for defenses because of the continuity coming back.
We were kind of mentioning the work you guys have been doing since analyzing players to fill in those gaps. Is it comparable at all to previous experiences you had in college with college football, or is it kind of just its own beast other than?
Yeah, no, it's nothing like what we operated like as in college football. Just these guys are all being released from, like I said, NFL teams. All of a sudden they become available. They're same thing with if they're released from other XFL teams, they're available to you. You don't have to, no recruiting visits, no recruiting, whatever. You don't have to get involved with their parents. And so it's nothing like what you did in college recruiting. But I guess to some degree what you're asking you're still building your roster. So you have to pay attention to numbers at each position, which you did in college as well, that you're not overloaded somewhere and too thin in another position. Other than that, the rest of it's a little bit quite different.
Your last question.
You're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. There's always stuff going on. You're in the middle right here in Arlington. So when you're looking at your roster, of course, you always do want to win. But is there also the opportunity where you want to bring maybe local guys or regional stars? Of course, one season you had Landry, and I think Lance Dunbar was on that team. So when you do look to construct your roster, you look at those things as well when you're part of a fledgling league.
Yeah, you would love to have players from this area as much as possible, definitely. And if all things being equal, if it's between two players, we would choose a guy that's local and has a following in this area. And, it's just even easier for that person, being if they live in the area, to be a part of our group. So, it's something we pay attention to a little bit, but you're always going to try and get the best player available first. But again, we'd love to have guys that are from the Dallas-Fort Worth area, definitely.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Well, Coach Phillips in a minute.
All right, Coach, talk a little bit about this season in general.
Well, this upcoming season, obviously, I want to be a lot better than last season, record-wise. We're out here at this great combine that XFL is putting on, and there's a lot of talent out here that we can add, that I can add to my team that's going to make us better.
The talent is out here, or whatever. What specific needs are you looking for?
All the skill, everything, quarterback down, every position. I saw a quarterback yesterday. It was pretty nice that I think could help somebody. We just got through watching the defensive line, the ends. There are a plethora of players out here that I think that could help us.
Okay. Circling back around with last season, what are some of the things that you think that you can improve upon to help make your season a little bit more successful next year?
I think overall, just the talent pool is better. It's like anything else. We started from scratch. We didn't have a team. And so that right there is eliminated. So you get a chance to pick better players. The organization is better. Getting guys that are used to winning, that's been there. Putting coaches in the right coaching positions. So there's a few things that's already been addressed, I think, that has made the Orlando Guardians a better team.
And with some of the players, I'm not sure if players on your team got picked up by the NFL, but
yes, we had a few.
As far as your roster coming back, are there things that maybe you can tweak a little bit to kind of help improve that?
Absolutely. We was tweaking things during the season, and we've tweaked things now from practice schedule to put guys in different positions. We got a few now that's NFL camps that I think have a great chance of making a team. So being able to replace those guys and put them also, the new guys, in the right position to reach their full potential. That is our job. That's what we're working on as coaches, and I think the players feel that same way.
And with with you being a head coach, what would you tell, or what would your message be to the players that are out here at the combine as far as trying to get on a roster and getting to that next level?
Show up. They're showing up. Guys that are here at these showcases that potentially want to come to another showcase. If you don't show up, you have no chance. When you show up, make sure you're in shape. You're in shape, do your very best, let us eval, and we'll go from there.
Okay, last question. You being a former NFL player, getting to the league, what would your message be to help those players? It's kind of like almost the same question before.
Yes.
What would your message be to those players that are trying to get to that next level?
I think the preparation, going all the way back to what I said, showing up, being in shape, making a team, competing at all times, producing when the lights come on, that's really all you can do. Now you put it in somebody else's hands.
All right. That's it, Coach.
All right, man.
And I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Like for an XFL coach since the end of the season, what's the
Well, we've had showcases for us, and we're having one here to look at players that we may be on our team this year. There's still, possibilities of NFL players that don't make it. Looking at those guys also. But we're in the process of putting our team together, which is a lot easier than it was last year, because last year we had no team, no players, and so we had to fill that in. Now it's like a normal situation where you have a team, you have players. Now you bring in guys that can fill in, or where you think your weaknesses are. The process in the second year is a lot easier. I think we played quality football, but I think it'll enhance it this year because everybody knows kind of who we are, who we have. I coached a long time. I've never been in a situation where I coached high school. We had a team when we went there. College, we had a team when we went there, and we'd signed some guys, and same thing in the NFL. But last year we'd had nobody. So it's amazing what this league has done through the ownership, obviously, and our leadership to put together what we had last year and be as competitive as we were and play quality football. Though I thought obviously there were a lot of good players, and a lot of those guys will be in the league. But even the guys that, I'm doing it because I still want to coach. A lot of guys that still want to play. They might not be NFL players, but they want to extend their time playing football. And so that's what I'm doing too. And it gives us, all of us, a great, they talk about going to the NFL, which is great. And I've been there, but I'm still coaching, and it's still coaching. And, it's the same as I've been doing my whole life. Well, these guys are kind of the same way. They're still playing football. And I know part of it is to get them the opportunity, but it's also an opportunity to play ball. And that's fun because that's what they've been doing for a long time. They love it. And we love having guys like that too.
That process of managing the roster from year to year, how is it different from, your time as an NFL coach?
Off season?
Yeah, just the stuff that's on your plate and what you have to do.
Well, it's more so looking at players that will be available. We still had combines or showcases, we call them, where we're looking at players a lot that way. Instead of looking at the college film like we did in the NFL, now we're having showcases and looking at players that will be available to play in this league. So same kind of time there, but more so you see them on the field rather than just watching tape on them. So we get to work them out. We get to look at all these guys, and I think you can pick them easier that way.
The conversations that you're having with these potential players, does that differ at all from previous experience you've had, or are they kind of?
No, being a football player is a football player. Their background is still, where they played ball, how much they love football. That's an important thing too. But it's also, what kind of ability they have, and then we get a chance to talk to them individually and interview them like we did in the NFL. And you could tell a lot about, what a guy's goals are, how important football is to him, So same kind of thing you're looking at in the NFL, we're looking at in this league.
What have you heard from players in those interviews that you've conducted? Like, what have you heard from them about their goals for the XFL?
Well, they still want to play football, that's the number one thing. Some of them goal is to play, maybe all of them we talk to is to get another opportunity to play in the NFL or get a opportunity which they may not have and show what they can do. So we get a lot of both of those things. But again, they want to play football, and we want to look at them and see if they can.
Coach, you've definitely coached on the highest level. You won Super Bowls, been a part of that. How much enjoyment have you had coaching in the XFL?
I've had a great time. It's a great time in the XFL. They call me the OG here. Old guy. So, no, it's been great for me. It's what I've done my whole life, basically, I want to win that championship that, like you said, I've won Super Bowls, but we lost in the playoffs to Arlington, who did a great job, and congratulations to them. But we want to win it this year.
Coach, how close of an eye are you keeping on NFL training camps this time of year, looking for players who may be available to you down the line?
We do a lot of that. Mark Littlebridge, our director of player personnel, is on top of all that. We have people we know. My son coaches is the offensive coordinator for the Vikings, so we keep tabs on them pretty close. He'll tell me if they've got somebody that that they may be letting go, or he thinks a good player or needs another year, another opportunity, things like that throughout the league. So I have a lot of contacts that way. But yeah, we're on top of guys that go to training camp with NFL teams because they've already scouted them. They feel like they were good enough to make the league. They didn't quite make it. Second chances here.
Coach, you're in the NFL for a long time. What drew you to the XFL? You're a coach in the NFL for a long time. What drew you to the XFL to take a head coaching job here?
Well, just the opportunity to coach. At 42 years in the NFL, I got a lot of experience. I wasn't ready to quit coaching, so the opportunity came. They called me and they said, "Would you like to coach?" I said, "Yes." "Would you like to coach in Houston?" I said, "Hell yes." Of course, I live in Houston, and I, played. My whole history is around Houston. Besides coaching for the Oilers and the Texans, so what a great opportunity for me, and I appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.
Yeah, bring in our owner and Chairwoman Dany Garcia, and then we'll have.
Coach, when is the idea of these XFL Showcase, XFL Combine, when was that brought to you guys as the coaches, and what were your thoughts on it?
I think they already had preset some dates already. I think we went through all the showcases, and this was a collection of the guys that we thought had talent, and just bring them all to Arlington in front of everybody. And it was a good showing. Guys went out there. Got a chance to interview some guys, man. It's totally like night and day from year one to year two. Starting fresh from zero, from scratch last year was challenging because you didn't really get a chance to really talk to these guys in person, to really get to know these players and what's their why. Why do they continue to play the game that they love? What is it that, that brought them to these showcases, to be able to showcase what they can do in front of all the entire league. So I think it's great for our league. There's definitely interest. It was kind of cool to see some Renegade fans out there, man. Hats off to Arlington for winning it all. Yeah, I just think, man, I'm just thankful and grateful to be a part of the XFL and get this great opportunity to get a second go at it for next year.
Coach, you spoke on the players' why. What is your why?
I love helping men, regardless of what team they're on. At the end of the day, that's how I was as a player. Somebody, as a rookie brought me under their wings, Jerome Bettis, and taught me how to be a professional, taught me how to make sure I'm available to media, how to be a team guy, not just sitting with the wideouts, understanding that special teams, punters, kickers are just important to our team as anyone else, and not just the quarterback. So understanding how to be a team leader, leader in the community, understanding that our passionate fans down in San Antonio, that even though we're not there, we're in San Antonio in spirit, in our hearts. So I'm gonna try to get this thing turned around. Dealt with a lot of injuries, had to overcome a lot, but every game we played in, we were probably a score away from winning those games. So hopefully getting a chance to, bring some guys back. Hopefully year two they can learn from those close games that we, fell short and kind of overcome and learn from it. And hopefully we can turn things around and get things moving in the direction I would like them to be. But, for me, it really wasn't about the wins and losses. Yes, I want to win championships. That's really what I'm all about. But also, I want to help young men become not just great football players, but great people, and help them. And when the game is gone and they can no longer play the game of football, I want them to take something that they got from me and kind of implement it in our own lives and hopefully just make them better men.
Coach, you're a Hall of Fame wide receiver, but
Mhm.
really when it comes to putting the football in your hands, you've done everything.
Yes.
So when you hear about the running back position not being as valued as it may have been at one point in time, what's your take on that?
Well, the game has changed. You know, fans want to see more points. It's all about quarterbacks. You look at the Little League, at the Little League level. They having 7-on-7 passing camps. I mean, they're fully invested in trying to, you know, throw it up, throw for 4,000 yards a season and things like that. So it's unfortunate. You know, for me, I'm a little biased being from Pittsburgh. We're known for running the ball and, you know, a lot of, yes, I envy being a wide receiver. I would love to play in an offense where you have 4 or 5 guys and you're passing and you got 2 or 3 guys with over 1,000 yards. But I wasn't in that system. You know, system in Pittsburgh, we played good defense, we ran the ball, and I made plays when it mattered the most. And you know, and I walked away from the game. Had the opportunity to play in 3 Super Bowls. We won 2. Super Bowl MVP. I've gotten everything that I ever dreamt and desired as a player out of the game of football. So now that I get a chance to sit in a chair and be a head coach, man, I just want to bestow, you know, all the knowledge that I have, all the experience that I gained from the NFL in my time. Some of the I'm not perfect by any means. Some of the mistakes that I made in life, I tell my players. I'm very transparent about that because I want them to see that, yes, who you see before you is not the person who I once was, young, dumb, and thought I knew everything. You know, but, you know, I think our players really bought into it, man. I couldn't be any prouder of our players. Yes, the record isn't what I want it to be, but, you know, just having the twins come out today, just seeing them out there, we didn't talk one thing about football. It was just about what they were doing in life. What are they doing now? Are they preparing themselves for the next season? That's my joy. You know, my closest relationships that I had are with my former coaches, and I want to have that with my players as well.
Coach, as a former NFL player yourself, what do you say to athletes on your team and athletes in this combine whose goal is ultimately to get to the highest level?
Ultimately, you know, for me, I'm always preaching this to my team, and I'll tell you guys, you can't have NFL dreams with playground habits. You can't have dreams and aspirations of making it to that level if you don't have daily habits of not missing meetings, being on time, dedicating yourself, taking care of your body, doing the right thing when you're off the field. I try to tell guys, you got girlfriends, you got wives, make sure you call them and appreciate them for all the stuff that they're doing because they got your back, you know, while you try to fulfill your dreams and aspiration of making it. I want you to get a good night rest. You know, don't be arguing and fighting on the phone. I want you to wake up fresh every day so you can be singularly focused on getting better as a football player and establishing those habits early for 4 months. Even if they do that, it doesn't guarantee you a spot at the next level, but it for sure as hell gives you a chance. Because, you know, if you're one of the fortunate ones to make it to an organization, you know, they got a very low tolerance for missing meetings, not doing the wrong thing. They just cut you right then and there because your habits aren't right. So I'm a firm believer of getting the player in the right place, in the right frame of mind, and teaching him how to attack each day of getting better. Did I get better and work on their communication skills? If I feel like if I do that and I instill those values in them, and then towards the end of the year, if everybody start buying into it, and if those fortunate ones that get that opportunity, then at least they have those foundation that I've taught and instilled in them to give them a chance to make it at the next level.
Coach, obviously there's going to be roster turnover from year to year in the XFL.
Mhm.
That being said, how big of an opportunity is for these 200 guys out here at the Combine this week?
It's a great opportunity. From year one, like I say, we didn't get a chance to evaluate and see these guys in person. So now, having played 10 games and went through a whole season, you kind of know the makeup of the guys that you have. Of course, we're always looking to get better. You know, I try to tell guys not to be content. I don't want players that are going to be in the XFL I don't want a 10-year career guy in the XFL. My job is to develop you and prepare you and give you every tools that you need to make it at the next level. And if it don't happen, then God, that wasn't your plan. He didn't have that in your plan. So for me, it's what you're going to do with life when, life after football. So that's how I'm measured as a coach. I don't care about wins and losses because I know I'm a winner in life. So, yeah, we're 3-7, but, this thing is bigger than just the record. So I just try to keep guys, inspiring guys, man, and just try to challenge them each and every day. We will, look to upgrade our roster, of course, just like every other team would. But it was great just seeing the turnout and the guys that we have, man. You can see the passion. You can see the desire that they want to come out and showcase. They still have that hope and inspiration that they want to, still play this game and play it at the highest level. They just need a little guidance how to have those daily habits, like I've talked about, and be able to instill it into their daily life and daily routine.
What have you seen on the field from the guys so far?
Good. I mean, it was great. One, just, I told guys, the guys that we interviewed a couple times, man, just be yourself. Don't try to make a perfect throw. And sometimes I get it, the anxiety, the nerves, you really want to showcase what you can do. Sometimes trying to do too much, you end up hurting yourself because you're trying to do too much. I know it's easier said than done, but when all eyes, the entire league, you got Miss Dany Garcia, you got The Rock out here, you're looking over, it's like, oh, man, you can't drop a ball right in front of The Rock, I get it, man. I've been there. I lived it, So I just try to give them a little words of encouragement. Just be yourself. And like I say, I mean, it's really out of your hands, man. It's in God's hands. You know what I'm saying? If it's meant to be, then he already has your story already has been written. So if it happens, it happens. If not, man, continue to, don't give up on your dreams, just continue to work at it and you'll get another opportunity. I tell guys all the time, I think I've dealt with so many injuries this past season, man, you never know when you might get that call, So going out, giving your best, doing all you can. If something goes down with injuries, I look at the showcase that I've been from, and seeing what guys are doing, if they're staying in shape. And, even though they may not make our roster, I still circle the guys because you always are looking. It's not like we have a large pool of selection of guys that are sitting out there to pull from when you're having injuries. We don't have a practice squad guys. So if we get hurt, we got to go find guys that from these showcases, and you got to kind of plug and play with the guys. So I said, don't be discouraged if you don't get picked. Just continue to stay because, I love looking at talent. I'm looking underneath every stone to try to find somebody to help us win games. And so even though if we don't pick them, you never know due to injuries, you still got an opportunity. You just got to continue to stay in shape. And that's what I told every player out there. That's it. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right, some news and notes to wrap up this long episode. Also, the XFL is having their some other showcases in October. One's in Orlando and one's in San Diego. Just stay tuned for that. San Diego, could that be a place? We've heard, as you've seen, that San Diego doesn't look like to be a place for an XFL, the Vipers, to move. We'll keep you posted, of course, on that. Some other news and notes. The other kind of stadium thing was the Roughnecks. So Russ Brandon went on and talked about how there's going to be renovations at TDECU Stadium, which could affect the Houston Roughnecks 2024 game schedule. He said the XFL is working with the University of Houston to determine the availability of TDECU Stadium for games in 2024 as the building undergoes renovation. If we determine that the stadium is unavailable to accommodate our home dates, we will find a new home in the area for the upcoming season. The XFL loves Houston and the Roughneck Nation loves the XFL. We aren't going anywhere. So that's just one thing to point out, is that you might not be able to be going, if you're in Houston, going to TDECU Stadium. So there's kind of two things that are up in the air, but Houston Roughnecks aren't going anywhere. They're staying in Houston. It's kind of the Viper situation is the kind of interesting one. But, depending on what, at least for this season, the Houston Roughnecks might be playing at a different stadium. Also, the XFL hired some vice presidents of business and event operations. We know the Brahmas guy was let go early on in the season. So we have the two events of DC Defenders, Kate Greenberg and Evan Ashton. respectively. Greenberg and Ashton will oversee their respective teams' business performance and activations to elevate awareness, drive fan and community engagement, and execute game day experiences based on the league's strategic plan. Prior to joining the Defenders, Greenberg was successful tenure as Chief Marketing and Development Officer of the Washington Nationals, philanthropies, their charitable arm for the Washington Nationals, and blah, blah, blah. Greenberg departed that, Washington Spirit. Ashton was promoted to his current role after previously serving as Director of Sponsorships for the Brahmas during the Brahmas inaugural season. So they added some new people on there. I know this one really upsets you guys. MLFB cancels its 2023 summer season. That was the beginning of August. But they talk about a potential fan-owning team. So current events and plans going forward. Our previously announced discussion about a joint venture with a California group to formally form substantially fan-owned franchises remains active, I should say. This group consists of multiple partners from one of the largest law firms in the world, as well as individuals. Blah, blah, blah. While we originally planned for 4 teams participating in the regular season, we cannot execute that plan in 2023 due to capital constraints, i.e. we don't have any money. We're working on alternative plans and football activities for the late fall of 2023, so stay tuned for that. That was from Frank Murtha about MLFB. So the interesting part was the talks about maybe fan-owning teams. You kind of have me interested there. And finally, Jacksonville Sharks joined the Indoor Football League. So finally, another Indoor Football League team on the East Coast. And this is now my official team, Jacksonville Sharks. They will join the Indoor Football League. So they already won their championship. They're a powerful indoor football brand rich in history, set to join the league in 2024. They announced that the Sharks, because they just won their championship in the NAL. So they have a big history dating back to 2010. The Sharks have been part of the AFL, including a National Arena Bowl championship win in 2011 before transitioning to the National Arena League, NAL. Their tenure in the NAL resulted in the league championship since 2017, 2019, and 2023. So they will be moving to the Indoor Football League. We know that the Indoor Football League had their little kind of tryout with their players and the XFL as well. So stay tuned for that. We definitely are going to ramp up our Indoor Football League coverage next year. And I would love to go to a Jacksonville game because that's kind of our pseudo home location there is in Jacksonville. All right, my friends, that is it for this week's program. We appreciate you stopping by. Make sure if you want to be part of the show, podcast at XFL News Hub. As always, we'll have another show here in September. Enjoy the football season. We're ramping up our XFL fan football league again, or for NFL league. I think I owe our resident Orlando Guardians fan, Jared, I believe. I owe him merch from winning the league, or that was the fantasy XFL. I don't remember. So anyway, make sure you like and subscribe. We'll keep you up to date on all the latest things. Things are going to start to crank up. We have those things. I think it's going to be quiet in September. Then December is going to roll in. We're going to have draft, these combine events, showcases, and so much more. And what the heck is going on with the Vegas Vipers? Also, go to our YouTube channel because we have our official video from our event when we went down to San Antonio. Check out the DC Defenders losing to the Arlington Renegades at a championship game. So you got all the behind the scenes fun action there as well. All right, that's it for me, folks. God bless as always, and I will see you all later.